All right, welcome everyone. We're Semblance of Sanity. I'm Caleb.
I'm Jacob.
And we're here for
Legend of the Galactic Heroes, Episode 52. The Battle to the Death at Vermilion, Part 2.
Vermilion being a really, really key planet before the Empire can get to Heinesen, and also a perfect setup for a trap for Yang.
Old bait and switch.
Yep.
But will the switch happen correctly?
Right.
Yeah.
Reinhardt is currently locked in a battle, and they made this enticing enough for Yang to take the plunge, go for Reinhardt, and now they are locked.
Right.
In a epic battle.
Of epic proportions with crazy amounts of just wanton slaughter happening on both sides, and it's kind of intense. Yeah.
Yeah.
But Reinhardt will be fine.
And
right?
Reinhardt only has a couple thousand more ships than Yang, or he had when the battle started.
Before Thernison did his whole thing.
Yeah, exactly. So, how much time do we have until each respective fleet of the Empire returns? We shall see. How much time will this battle go on before Yang is actually able to do something meaningful here with regards to, Reinhardt?
Yeah.
Or is this going to be basically the ultimate, standoff where at the end of it, everyone will have lost tons of people and ships, but no one will have gained anything? That's a win ultimately for the Empire, really.
Yeah, I mean, I think this, if Yang doesn't succeed here, I think this is where the alliance is thoroughly crushed.
Yeah, they can basically end up retreating on their own terms, but then the overall engagement was ultimately for nothing.
Right.
And then they might end up being in a situation where
at the very
Empire,
least. Yeah, because if Yang's fleet gets weakened enough, it might get to the point where he doesn't have enough vessels to even be able to do meaningful guerrilla warfare, because they have enough right now that if they go back to that situation, they can still pick off big pockets of Imperial forces. But
exactly,
if they're reduced down to just like, a couple thousand ships,
that might not be enough.
Yeah.
So y'all, without further ado, let's get into this. All right, everyone, then be sure to go check out the reaction portion of the video in the description below, then come back here for the discussion. All right, well, we've got some tactical geniuses, some strategic geniuses, and we got to see Reinhardt's wine-soaked
that's right,
through the linens practical theory come into play here, and it worked super well for the first part until Yang realized, hey, let's pull back and reevaluate from this. And pulled the geniusly ridiculous maneuver of we're gonna tow some asteroids and make them look like ships, so that when they, see us on their long-range sensors, they think
there's more there than, because
this is our main force,
right, or at least it's a sizable enough chunk that we don't really have to worry about the tables being flipped on us, because there's so many ships there. If they do come at us with another smaller fleet size, we can handle it.
Right,
but no,
the main
surprise,
force was actually the one coming from behind. That was perfect. I love that kind of stuff, because I couldn't have predicted that they would tow asteroids.
Use the tow cables.
Right. But then not only did they do that, Reinhardt took the bait. Based on, I would say, pretty decent logic, because the info that they had was flawed in a lot of ways.
Yes.
But the idea of it turning the entire formation in that respect shows how this episode ties into the previous episode's themes of, ordering others to die, basically, and the disconnect between those who, basically give the orders and those that are actually dying for the ideals, philosophies, and beliefs of others. And then here we saw the absolute Chad lad Mueller show up, because an Alliance military officer
made the call about that is unnecessary bloodshed. No, I'm not going to be a part of us basically being like, well, then they'll die with us, Right, exactly.
And we'll do as much. No, no, that is not thinking about the future.
Yep. What's
And they're like,
interesting,
oh, that's
though,
treasonous. You must die. And then,
Yep.
yeah.
I actually think, though, that could end up. So, okay. Mueller, as far as him as a character, he is also one of the most just generally upstanding dudes in the Empire, right?
Yes.
Like he's an absolutely awesome guy, right? Now, because he came in here, I feel like this battle is basically over, right? Yang has won, but the reason now Kessler is a bit more of a Chad, you know, than
Were you
Mueller,
getting
I
him
would
mixed
say.
up with Kessler?
I think I do get them mixed up a little bit, but Mueller was still awesome here. But the thing is that this battle was determined by desperation, basically. Like, because Reinhardt has lost because the forces that he had were put into positions where the immediate threat needed to be fixed rather than the long-term solution, right? So even when Mueller came in, it wasn't with his full force. He had to save Reinhardt. So all these things had to happen so that way the king wouldn't be captured. But as a result, you sacrifice a lot of material.
Right.
And even if Reinhardt gets out of this, which it seems like he won't, but even if he does, who's to say that, you know, Ruhenthal won't be able to just come in with Mittermeier and be like, cool, not only is Reinhardt basically defeated, and maybe the Alliance defeated, but also a bunch of other people that we would have had to deal with if we wanted to take over the Empire have been sort of weeded out for us.
It definitely could go that way. I still think that because we haven't been given any definitive stuff as to what's going on with Mittermeier or Ruhenthal, that it's still completely up in the air as to what's actually going on here.
But
what I interpreted this as is that they were all given secondary objectives that they would do in the meantime, and Mueller went through his exceptionally fast because the Alliance helped him out.
Right.
The Alliance basically were like, no, rather than stall this and make you getting the supplies difficult or sabotaging them in some way, we're going to give them to you on the condition that you redistribute them for the citizens because we won't offer up any resistance.
Right.
And it's like, yeah, that's a fantastic deal. We just neutered an Alliance supply base completely. And we also bought a lot of rapport in our future ruling of this area of the galaxy with the people. They're going to tell stories about that. And it's going to aid Reinhardt in the future. So Mueller basically gets major props for being a good boy. And he does seem to be kind of one of the younger, you know, kind of admirals in general, like just specifically. We have a little bit of a info regarding Mueller that he was one of the people that survived in the recent battle in Iserlon, not the one with Ruhenthal, but the one before that.
Vowed to wring Yang's neck.
Exactly. So he's got personal reason to not only throw himself into harm's way to protect Reinhardt, but also to stop Yang. And I loved that there were so many reversals this episode as to who seemed to be on top. Reinhardt's strategy of mitigation seemed really effective.
Yeah, he was doing a really good job of smothering Yang's forces, and if he hadn't fallen for that bait, he probably would have been able to continue to do it. Because the problem was that the orientation was mucked up, and then it just all kind of fell apart, right? But if he had just kept doing things the way that he had been doing things, oh man, like that, Yang never would have been able to get to him. Like I love the whole idea that because Yang is pressured for time, he's not actually trying to destroy the layers. He's trying to just get past them, which means you can just recycle them, right? Since you're not actually having a complete obliteration of the forward line, you can just have the other people just go back, start it all up again.
It's literally a formation of geese just taking turns being at the front of the pack. That's literally what they do. The only difference, I believe, in that angle of it is that the ones at the front are more in the crux of a triangle, like a V.
Right, because like it's more for spearheading, you know.
Yeah, for wind resistance.
Exactly.
But in this case, we have a perfect strategy that worked for that first, segment of the fight. And then once Yang retreated, he basically decides, okay, I'm going to do something that there's no way he's going to be able to expect here. So I was
double
initially,
blind.
yeah, I was initially right in that there's no way of knowing exactly what Yang's strategy was with deploying this fleet to his left flank. So just falling back in general and maintaining the orientation of the fleet might have been the best call.
Yep.
The only issue probably is that the formation might have broken up a little bit if they were moving too fast.
And if
because it'd be
Yang
tricky to orient it, and then they can just end up speeding past. But if they did separate enough distance from the asteroid belt, by the time they would have left the asteroid belt, they would have been able to have more time to react to their incoming reinforcements.
And the negative side of it, which you know, I get why Reinhardt didn't go for it, because one, there's a lot of pride at stake, and he doesn't have a Kierheis, you know, to tell him not to do this. But it's also the thing of, we're doing this so that Yang is defeated. I'm making myself a target, something that's risky, because Yang needs to be stopped, right? So if they retreat and pull back, then Yang gets away, right? Like, and
no, he has to chase after them.
well,
I'm not talking about actually leaving the battlefield. I'm just talking about pulling back away from. So, like, there's grids where they can move before they're actually full on retreating. I was just meaning that asteroid belt's here. There's a fleet coming out over here. Why not just, instead of turning the orientation to where you then have a weakness on a different side, which is facing the asteroid belt, why not just move directly backwards and let them chase you away? So then whatever is the other part of the force, whether it's the main or the secondary, it's too far away from the asteroid belt for them to be able to sneak attack you. That's all I was saying, yeah.
Yeah, well, my point was that since Yang needs to keep the pressure on, since Yang needs to solve this quickly, right? If Reinhardt makes it so that it will take too long and that the bait is drawn a bit too far away from the, you know, the carrot is a bit too far away from you know, the donkey, right? It might just be like, you know what, it's actually not worth the effort, given that, you know, the other fleets will be coming in soon. Okay, I'll just leave and go back to guerrilla warfare, and we can, you know, maybe do this another time.
Yeah, and I don't think that's something that would have happened here, because at the very least, he's not actually running away. He's just strategically changing the position that he has on the battlefield, and just happens to be farther away from the asteroid belt. If anything, I think Yang might have realized, oh, he's moving back. This isn't going to work.
And then gone whole hog after him.
Either chased after him immediately and gone gung-ho right there,
or been gone back to the way things were before.
Right, or been like, crap, pull back, or no, you guys now have to run like directly behind them as fast as possible and try and basically get to a point where we're attacking them from two sides.
Right.
But yeah, I think at this point Yang had already basically lost by deciding to go through the formation at all. So by switching up this strategy, it was basically him saying, no, I have to win this here. So Reinhardt had already won the mental battle of that Yang's committed to this fight here.
Gotcha.
Yeah. And thus, when things end up going in with Mueller arriving and stuff, Yang's like, no, I'm already in.
Right, we can't turn back now.
We can't turn back. Like, what happens when two more fleets show up? Will Yang still stay because he has to win this here? See, that's the thing. I think as long as Reinhardt can last long enough, he's already won the overall kind of setup battle.
Okay.
Yeah.
One of the things that I was also kind of curious about was when Reinhardt specifically went to go, you know, beat down the snout that presented itself. He split his forces. Now, that ended up being helpful in some cases. Yeah, he sent the advanced fleet, basically, that ended up getting encircled and totally wiped out.
Oh, gotcha.
Now, that is, in some cases, that's something that is helpful, because then, since he's guessing that this is probably a trap, he's making it so that his ship isn't going to be one of the ones that gets caught out there, right? But it is something where he's then making it so that his whole, you know, a bunch of sheets to soak up the wine strategy doesn't really work, because that only works while you have more forces than they do. Because you're still letting them get a bunch of little easy wins. So if you know, say cut your forces in half, right? That's, you know, you're hedging your bets, but it also feels like it's something where you're making it so that there's way less chance of a winning situation.
Gotcha. I looked at the thing again, and this was just them rotating. They weren't actually splitting up the forces there.
It shows a bit of the diagram of the fleets, and they break into basically two triangles. When it was originally a bunch of like little layers and stuff on the sides, then so
right, this part that's something that is definitely the case there.
When it shows the encirclement, and then the one fleet is on the inside, and then Reinhardt's outside the ring.
Right. But there are a bunch of fleets all stacked up in that regard. So I always assumed
I don't believe so.
I know, but I'm just saying if you look at the diagram before that, when it shows him saying that he's going to rotate there, it splits into basically two sections where you see this double triangle here, and then this is Reinhardt's little main command fleet here.
Yeah, and then because there's all the triangles that are in like the two columns, and then they all sort of form into two half triangles, and then they merge into one big triangle, and then they go off to fight the enemy.
Right, and
with Reinhardt's thing behind.
Right, what I would almost assume that's actually that's Reinhardt's whole fleet basically. The little bit in the back is just a bare bones command protection squad for Reinhardt. It's not that there's two fleets. It's almost the whole fleet went out and got encircled.
Right, which makes it a little bit stranger even, because then that's something because then it's leaving the king unprotected. He has some ships over there,
exactly.
But he's basically gambling that Yang doesn't have any other forces that could get to him faster than his fleet could return and protect
back.
him.
Yeah, that's why I thought it was really bad, was that it was basically the 90% of my fleet just got encircled there.
Right.
Then when Mueller shows up, it's not
just Mueller protecting Reinhardt, basically.
Right, and Mueller going in to protect a bit of the fleet that ended up getting encircled
is a necessary thing, because
an important thing, because it's the majority of Reinhardt's fleet.
Right, exactly. Mueller and whatever is left of Reinhardt's fleet outside the encirclement could not beat Yang if they destroy the stuff that they've encircled. Right. So he needs to go save them, but that's a forced. It's like the forced moves in chess, right? And then all of a sudden Yang's like, "Cool, yep, that's what you had to do." It's not that that's a mistake. It's something that is now a. You have no choice in the matter, right? If you want to win, and then as a result, because you do that, I will do this other thing. Boom, bam, pow, and just eviscerate you.
Yeah. They brought up also that Yang's fleet is running out of energy and missiles.
Yes.
Which basically means we're going to get to that point where Yang and co could actually win, but they don't have the weapons just necessary to actually just shoot down ships.
Yeah, they come up on Reinhardt's ship. Boo! Sorry, the weapon systems need to recharge a bit.
Or just
definitely
we need to leave because we do not have the supplies to protect ourselves if they sent fighters. Like that's
sure.
Like one of the things that is exciting about the idea of a ship running low on weapon systems and stuff is when Yang said, "Bunch them up so that we can fire more efficiently." And then when Mueller and Carnap's ships, bunched up together there, it made each shot doubly more destructive and effective in terms of
fish in a barrel. You're missing less, so there you go.
Yeah, more effective shots in general. But that means that the ship-to-ship destructive weapons in general will not be something that they'll have as many of available when they actually go to bear down on the very, very small remaining bits of ships that are actually with Reinhardt.
I am very curious, though, how they're going to follow up on that cliffhanger, because as far as cliffhangers go in this show, I don't think they've ever come close to this other than when Geiersberg and Iserlohn were firing on each other. Like Death Star v Death Star. That's the only other time I can think of that came close to this.
Right.
We literally have the ship just rising up right in front of the Brunhild's bridge. All weapon systems ready to blow Reinhardt away. And it's like, Reinhardt's not actually going to die here, right? Like, we already had Mueller come in and save them at the last minute. We're not going to have that happen again, right?
Well, I think they'd have to. Otherwise, Reinhardt will have to flee. Because if this comes down to a thing of where, let's say the fleets arrive, but instead Yang actually has already beaten, his opponent.
Yeah.
But it's a thing of where they're holding Reinhardt hostage, and they go, open line communication to the Empire ships arriving.
Right.
Go, don't move, or we'll destroy, the Brunhild. We can do it.
And then Ruenthal's like, go ahead.
Go ahead. Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
yeah.
That's the kind of thing I think that they could do, where it's not about whether or not they'll beat Reinhardt. Reinhardt might already be beaten.
Yeah, I think he is.
Yeah, because if he's considering this basically an I've been had, I do not have basically any other choice but to rely on Mueller here, and Mueller is barely surviving at this point just in his own fleet.
Like, he's being a badass, but, he's just buying time. Like,
right.
Yeah.
Yeah, he left behind 4,000 ships in order to be able to make this happen.
Right.
So, no, he doesn't have the capacity to make a full, saving of Reinhardt here.
Not gonna
also, because Reinhardt's fleet is essentially getting decimated by Yang's, even though Yang doesn't have the necessary hardware to probably go all the way. I love just the shot of Reinhardt staring down the barrels of the massive battleship right in front of him, to where it's like, are you gonna give up, Reinhardt? Are you gonna run away?
I don't know. I mean, well, okay, we have established that Reinhardt's flagship is a prototype. So maybe it's something where, even though they've gotten to, the Brunhild, it's not like it won't just automatically end there. Like, the Brunhild will actually blow up the ship that's right in front of them or something like that. But even then, even if that does happen, there's no way Reinhardt can get out of this. And since they're just wanting to kill Reinhardt, that like we haven't gotten anything established. Someone could definitely bring up in like commentary of like, what if we took Reinhardt hostage or something like that?
Well, I think that's why I was saying that's a way they might have to if Imperial reinforcements show up.
Right. But yeah, sure, just to guarantee their own survival.
Yeah.
But since up till now the objective has just been kill Reinhardt, I don't know. I don't know how they can like have Reinhardt survive this. Like,
I was just giving you a bunch of reasons as to how they could do that, and I'm saying those are valid reasons. So
yeah, I don't.
What do you mean you don't see them? As
I don't see
possible?
those as being in line with the motivations of the Alliance vessels so far.
Oh no, yeah, no, definitely. I could very much see another way in which Reinhardt basically just has to deal with the overwhelming evidence that he's lost. And even if he ends up basically being like, no, I will not give up or something like that, he could just have a mutiny on his ship where people are like, you'll thank me later, court-martial me later, execute me later, but I believe too much in
tie
your
him up
dream.
and throw him in a shuttle and get him out of here. Yeah.
Or Reinhardt just has his moment where he thinks of the little red-haired boy that's with him there, and he goes,
I'm not going to kill this boy.
Yeah. Am I going to be the one responsible for his death because I was too proud?
Sure. Yeah.
Am I going to watch another Kier Heist basically die because of my own stubbornness?
One of the things that, regardless of how this goes, I really, really badly want to see a conversation between Yang and Reinhardt. And that's probably the main reason that I don't want Reinhardt to die just yet.
Yeah.
Because I want to see that happen. That conversation would be so good.
Right.
And yet, Reinhardt's in a pickle.
Yeah, but he's going to get out of this. We're in the halfway point of the show. I feel like I'm trying to approach this a little bit too meta, and you don't want to go there.
Well,
it's obvious he's going to get out of this, right?
No. No, because depending on how this show wants to take it, it could be something where, Reinhardt was a great conqueror and everything, and then it's the galaxy post Reinhardt.
I don't agree. I don't agree. I guess
we'll have to see.
This is Yang and Reinhardt being the epic rivals that become basically the heroes of their two sides. Legends probably after they die, because I do think it's very likely that one or both will die eventually.
Yeah, certainly by the end of the show.
And I was wrong about Kier Heist dying so early, but no, there's no way I'm wrong about Reinhardt dying or what have you here. There's no way.
I hope you're right.
Yeah, I feel like on some level I'm upset that you don't see how this is like impossible on a meta level to have him die here. At the very least, just think about Ruenthal as a character as well. You think you want to have this end with him never having a conversation with Reinhardt?
Yeah, but at the same time, like they already did the thing of the cavalry coming in with Mueller.
That's one fleet of like 6 or 7 that went out.
No, I know, but as far as like the perfect timing of it, where Reinhardt is literally about to die, and then suddenly the fleet comes in and blows up the ship that's going to blow him up, right? I don't know. Yeah,
yeah. If we can, go shift the focus of the discussion to something else, because we're a bit deadlocked here in that respect. One of the things that this episode focused on quite a bit is the idea that these people are ordering lots of people to simply die for the purpose of an overall grand objective.
Sometimes straight up, with Reinhardt being like, go die.
Exactly. But then we have other people in the story having little moments of, no, it is not necessary that we die here, or that we order others to die so that we can perpetuate some aspect of our goal. Because maybe we as human beings are not meant to make those kinds of decisions. Now, I like the logic and reasoning behind the Alliance commander, but on the supply base. But I also really like the idea that the narrator basically said historians might, debate, whether or not he basically just saved, Reinhardt's life there. But the idea of these rippling little actions that extend out because someone out there valued life, or valued basically life enough to make a hard call, an order that was maybe a little bit anti regarding the whole war between the Alliance and the Empire. I feel like that's another element of thematic foreshadowing for what, kind of Kierheis's character represented, for what a lot of the characters in the show represent, about some eventual coexisting future between a lot of not only the factions involved, but the characters that we've come to acknowledge as being on opposite sides will eventually have moments where those sides will meld a little bit.
I just realized something, Yeah. So the narrator actually basically confirms, that Reinhardt is going to survive, because he said that the guy saved Reinhardt's life. Because of that, Reinhardt didn't die. There'd be no point in saying that if Reinhardt were to die later. So, okay. All right, so somehow it's going to happen. I'll need to be sold on how it happens.
It just needs to be more fleet reinforcements at the very least.
Sure.
See, I feel like my reasons for him surviving are mostly meta reasons, right? But your reasons as to why the fleet reinforcements can't show up are meta reasons. Well, we already had one show up, so we can't have 2 more. Well, says who?
Not that they can't show up, but it's not going to be in the exact same way.
Who cares?
Yeah.
And there's no rule about that. This is war.
The whole thing of the mutiny to save Reinhardt, I would absolutely love to see.
Wouldn't that be awesome,
That would be really cool.
That moment where, 2 months later, after the invasion has failed, or maybe they've beaten the Alliance or something, and Reinhardt has to finally go back to these people that saved his life and goes, all right, you're in prison for life, or you're in prison for treason. No, I won't execute you. But,
thank you. Right. Under the radar when comms are off and everything.
You made this happen.
Right.
But you also questioned my rule, and it's like, yes, and it's like, you've been giving us orders to die so that we could see your dream fulfilled,
and we gave you orders to the order to live.
But but at that time, it was our time to basically say that no, we wanted to see your dream fulfilled, so we were not going to accept your orders.
Right. And if you think about it, that the fact that Reinhardt made the decision that would have resulted in his death, that is maybe that's something that he'll think about. Like when he gets out of this.
Seriously. Hey, Mariendorf, come over to him and she'll be like, what was that all about?
Yeah. Well, and also, hey, Kierheis, I think I basically almost threw away your sacrifice.
Oh.
You died to protect me. You died to save my life. And I almost, because of my own pride and stuff, made your sacrifice mean potentially nothing.
That's a good point. Yeah. Yeah, Reinhardt. Okay. You're about to be faced with the situation again, though.
Yep.
Maybe at this point, it'll be the moment where he realized, wow, look at what my men are willing to do in order to make this happen. Like Mueller's essential, not sacrifice, because Mueller apparently is going to be dubbed
Iron Defense,
Iron Shield.
Shield.
That's just so freaking cool. And then he'll realize, okay, I need to live. And he falls back. And maybe that gives him just enough time to where a fleet reinforces them, because maybe that's another reason why Mueller arrived faster compared to any of the other fleets that are, from a perspective that we're not seeing right now, already on their way, maybe.
Sure.
It's just that they didn't abandon 40% of their ships to get there faster.
Right.
Maybe they went there with 100% of their ships, and it's Bittenfeld, like, charging all the way there. And he's like, damn it, Mueller got here before me?
You son of a bitch.
Mueller's getting a freaking cool title before me? I can kind of see Bittenfeld doing the whole charge for it. He's like, and everyone's like, are you trying to mimic Reinhardt? No, shut up.
But did it look cool? Did it look this cool as when Reinhardt does it?
Right, exactly.
Which, by the way,
the cam's rolling on that one. He's like, yes, sir.
Tell me you got that. Yeah.
Tell me you got that.
Now, I do want to point something out here. Okay, so Reinhardt is down at Kierheis. Now, there's the kid that's with Reinhardt, and he reminds him of Kierheis.
Yeah.
And that's awesome, right?
Yeah.
Hopefully that helps Reinhardt remember why he's doing everything that he's doing.
Right.
The thing is, that kid is not a military dude, right? Not really. He's not a military commander. He can give him the emotional support in a one-sided, non-way, but he can't give him advice.
Yeah, he can't do anything in that regard, really. He's a kid.
There's more than one redhead near you, Reinhardt.
Oh.
And even if it's not a straight redhead,
wow,
Bittenfeld is there. And you know what?
We meme on, yes.
Yeah. I love Bittenfeld.
Bittenfeld is a character that's fun to have exist in a world this serious.
Indeed.
But
yeah.
And
I don't have anything more to say about this episode, really.
Yeah, I guess the only other thing is since we did a mini cut away to Mueller's perspective from days before,
yes,
I am interested to see if they do that again with
the
other
fleets.
Admirals.
Yeah.
That could be rather cool.
And
especially with Mittermeier and Ruhenthal.
Right, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I liked that Yang was like, wait, Mueller's here, not Mittermeier? Wait, like, what's not the Gale Wolf?
He's like, I didn't put that into my calculations. He's like, so not only did he get here really quickly, he's here like at a really opportune time with a small amount of ships. But he's here by himself.
And the other ones that I was more worried about aren't here yet. That means even if I deal with him or when I deal with him, I'll still have them that could come in. So
yeah.
But I like that Yang is potentially cluing into what's about to happen. So.
But y'all, thank you so much for watching this episode's reaction and discussion. If you want to see the next episode's reaction and discussion right now, though, go check out the link in the description below for our Patreon. You can get on early access there. You can watch full-length timer reactions there, and all this comes with Discord access, so you can chat with us and the community there about this show, about anime in general, and also be sure to check out our Twitch channel.
Indeed. We stream Monday through Friday, 3 p.m. Pacific time for each of those days. Mondays we do podcasts. Tuesdays, One Piece dramatic manga readings. Wednesdays and Fridays, he does gaming.
Yep, I'm playing Hades right now, which will be followed by Cyberpunk 2077 in December.
Yes, and then I game on Thursdays, still playing Persona 4 Golden.
Yeah, so if any of that interests you, we'll see you there. But until then, we're Semblance of Sanity. I'm Caleb.
I'm Jacob.
And we'll see you all
next time.